Hello experts in Korea, my name is Hyunju An, a lawyer practicing in Gwangju. I've uploaded some Korean Law 101 videos. I'd like to talk about security deposit regarding the housing issues. Many have asked me about this topic, and some of their problem was that their landlord refuses to pay the security deposit back, and they also claim that they will deduct certain amount to cover the repair or for the wallpaper changes. So many of my clients ask me whether the landlord's request is legal or illegal. So today we would like to address this issue. To answer that question, I'd like to look into the law first. The Korean law provides that the landlord should return the security deposit at the end of the lease contract or when the lease contract is terminated. So it sounds like that the landlord should return all of the security deposit, but it is not. The landlord can deduct certain amount to cover the unpaid rent, or also the landlord can claim that he can deduct certain amount to cover the damages caused by the lessee. So, what are the damages that can be covered by the security deposit would be the issues. Regarding the ordinary wear and tear, such as the wallpaper, old wallpaper, like old cabinet, some wear and tear on the floors, those are considered not as those damages caused by the lessee, but it can be considered more like a ordinary wear and tear. And the case law says that the ordinary wear and tear will be covered by the monthly rent that the lessee paid. So for those small damages caused by the ordinary wear and tear, for those damages, the lessee is not responsible for that. The damage is already covered by the monthly rent he paid. Then what are the damages that's not covered by the rent and the lessee is responsible for? Those would be the damages caused by the lessee's negligent acts, or some damages that existed but the lessee was negligent enough to not notify to the landlord. For example, if the lessee has a dog or cats, and then the dogs and cats ripped off the wallpaper or made damages on the floors, those will not be considered as the ordinary wear and tear, but that would be the damages that should be borne by the lessee. And also for those damages that's not notified to the landlord, such as something broke, the water pipe is broken, but the lessee didn't notify it to the landlord immediately and just left it, and the condition of the house deteriorated because of that issues not being fixed, then those damages should be covered by the lessee, not by the landlord, because landlord had no knowledge about those damages. Also, during the lease contract duration, lessee is responsible for minor repairs or maintenance, such as change of light bulbs, fixing the doorknobs. Those small issues, maintenance issues, those should be covered. Those should be covered by the lessee's expense. But regarding the major issues, such as like structures issues, more like water pipe, boiler fixing, those should be covered by the expense of the landlord. How about mildew or mold on the house? In that case, the answer can differ depending on whether it's caused by the structural problem of the house or whether it's caused by the lifestyle or the negligence of the lessee. So for example, there was some structural issues and the water is leaking. In those cases, the mildew or the mold can be covered by the expense of the landlord. But if it's caused more by the lessee's negligent maintenance of the house, like he kept the door open while raining, things like that, then it should be covered by the lessee's expense. Finally, so how can we avoid those issues when you are a lessee? I advise you to read the contract carefully when you sign it, because some hidden provisions might be included in the contract, such as like I will pay a certain amount for the cleaning fee when I leave the house, things like that. So you should read the contract very carefully, and if you don't know or if you're not sure about it, you should ask every details to the landlord or the realtor. Also, if you are not sure like who will be responsible for certain expenses or the maintenance, you should ask. And if it's not already in the contract, you may ask to include those provisions to avoid any future disputes. Second, I would like to encourage you to take the photos of the house, like cabinets, inside the cabinet, toilet, wallpapers, floor, because after like 2 years you don't know how much the wear and tear would be. So it's much better to take the photos and compare it to the conditions when you leave the house, and then you can argue like it was like that at the very beginning, it's not done by me. So that's a good strategy. And please remember that when the landlord refuses to give you all of your security deposit back and he wants to deduct certain amount, I advise you to negotiate with him first, or have some person to be a mediator between you and the landlord. As far as I know, many of the landlords are not that bad, greedy people. Sometimes they don't know the law themselves. There is more like a custom rules in Korea, like, oh, the lessee will pay the cleaning fee, or lessee will just be responsible for half of the wallpaper, things like that. It's not the law or the rules, or that can be the kind of rules that many people follow and they accept it. So they might be just suggesting those rules to you, and it's not trying to like discriminate you or rip you off. So you should know the intent of the landlord, and then if you are not sure about it and if you think it's unfair, then you can ask why he's trying to do that. Then he might say, oh, we did it with everybody else, so I just want you to do the same thing for us. So they might have very weak logic. So there is very much room to negotiate. Yeah. So if you have any issues when you want to get back your security deposit, please read your contract, and remember that the ordinary wear and tear is already covered by the rent you paid. And if you have dogs or cats, please keep an eye on them. Don't allow them to rip off the wallpapers, because those will be the expenses that you will be responsible for. Also, lastly, don't forget to notify the landlord about any damages that appears in your house, because if you don't tell them, they will have no idea what's going on in your house. I hope this video is helpful, informative, and if you like the video, please subscribe. Thank you. Bye.